Well, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Today we're going to discuss the characteristics of poetry in the Victorian age. How poetry looked like in the Victorian age. Victorian. What is Victorian age? First of all, let's discuss what is the Victorian age. When we say Victorian age, we mean the age when Queen Victoria, it is the period when Queen Victoria ruled England. And when was that? She ascended the throne in 1836. Queen Victoria, الملكة Victoria. متى اعتلت العرش? 1837. And she died in 1901. Look at how many years. It's too much time. She is the queen of the longest period of ruling England. So because of that, we call this period the Victorian period. الفترة الإيش؟ الفيكتورية. المرحلة الفيكتورية. Why do we call it Victorian period? Because first of all, we said it's the Queen Victoria who ruled this period. Second, the period enjoyed some characteristics in many levels. In many levels. The levels of writing, levels of arts, politics, societal rights, norms of life, walks of life, problems, freedom. You know, remember, Victorian came after, the Victorians lived after the Romantic age. Remember Romanticism? Have you studied Romantic poetry? Have you studied Romantic poetry? I think yes, someone also taught you this. Romantic poetry or Romantic period, you know, existed before the Victorian age. Romantic age existed before the Victorian age. You know, Romantic age coincided with the French Revolution and all the hassles and the problems that came across the European continent by this type of revolution, French Revolution, 1789. A lot of restrictions and a lot of laws and acts had to be there in order to restrict the people's freedom. All kingdoms surrounding France were afraid that that revolution was to be transformed, was to be, you know, taken into other soils, other European soil, like, you know, English soil, Danish soil, Austrians. Almost every country was afraid that a revolution may take place in their own kingdom. That's why a lot of laws had to be enacted to restrict people's freedom. In order to restrict people's freedom. Now, after this period is over, everybody know that the French Revolution was not that blissful. Though at the beginning, many people used to praise this revolution. Later on, the French Revolution did not prove its mettle. And people started to recede, to withdraw from appraisal to, you know, criticism, including famous poets like William Wordsworth. Today we're not talking about the Romantic age, we're talking about Victorian, when much freedom was given to the Victorians who lived in England, and laws of rights started to be enacted. People start to feel free to claim their rights, social rights, working rights, parental rights, wage and payments rights, and all this stuff, etc. So Queen Victoria, you know, is considered one of the queens that gave good freedom, much freedom to her own people, more than the kings and the queens before. famous Victorian poets that we're going to discuss in this course are, as you can see in the bold letters, Alfred Tennyson, the poet laureate, Robert Browning, Matthew Arnold, Elizabeth Barrett Browning. You know, Elizabeth Barrett Browning is or was Robert Browning's wife. Elizabeth Browning is Robert's wife. So you've got two poets from the same family. You following me? Two poets from the same family. Robert Browning is the husband. Elizabeth Browning is the wife. Two poets. Of course, Swinburne, Edward Fitzgerald, Arthur Cuff. Of course, we have got also Kipling and others. But these are the most famous people, the most famous poets of the age. Are you following me? Well, I just want you to learn to know these poets, because we're going to read about them, or at least to refer to them as we read. Let's go down the second. Let's scroll down. Victorian England. Now we're going to talk about the Victorian people. تفضلي. تفضلي. ما اسمعك. بس دقيقة عشان ايش اقفل التسجيل يا استاذ. Materialism was another challenge to orthodox belief, to the belief that used to be existing in people's heart, that God created the universe, Allah خلق الكون, and all whatever between heaven and earth. God created heaven and earth and whatever in between. And to God everything is going to return. That's what we believe. Right? لمن سنرجع؟ نرجع إليه. إنا لله وإنا إليه. We return to Him. That belief and these sort of beliefs started to be challenged. These are orthodox belief. هذه كلها عقائد إيش؟ عقائد راسخة قديمة. لكنها تم تحديها. من تحداها؟ من الذي تحدثها؟ هذه النظريات اللي جابها هؤلاء المفكرون اليهود. It denied, are you following? These materialism denied the existence of everything except matter. Materialism denied, أنكرت وجود أي شيء ما عدا ماذا? Except what? Matter. What is the matter? المادة. يعني إيش المادة? You know, money. They just need their money. These challenges to the faith created what? Created doubt. People started to live in doubts. They were not the type of people who would feel that satisfied with what they got and all trustful of God and that God is going to give them everything they need. No, these things have vaporized. They're no longer the part of their beliefs and faith. So people started to feel a lot of doubts in their life. Does God exist? Why are we living in earth? Questions. They have to stay. There is a lot of questions. Why are we living in earth? Who created us? Why do we die? What happens to us after we die? Where do we go after death? Do we have to live again or not? What happens to the justice and injustice that's taking place in our life now? Who is going to take justice later on? And so on and so forth. A lot of unanswered questions raised due to the conflicts that those people started to live and have. Conflicts in their life. Now, who sparkled? Who gave the first sparkling questions of who gave the sparkle of these questions? It was theories of materialism, theories of Darwin's, of course, is the reason, but materialism as a result is the reason. So they challenge these these challenges to the faith created doubts. Poets also had to face the problem of doubt and come to terms with the new science. Let me just write S over here because it's supposed to be S, not sing. Yeah, doubts. People started to have a lot of doubts. Feminist movement, we're going to talk about it next class. We'll stop in here, inshallah. For any questions, if you have. Do you have any questions about whatever we said, whatever we discussed in these 2 pages? Any questions? Would you prefer to have no questions, sisters? Are you sure no questions about today's class? All right, then I have to stop